Hey everyone, it's Lynnea for LDRS Creative. We're going to make a sweet and yummy card using the Macarons 4x6 stamps and some of my favorite staple dies from the new Daybreak collection. Now this 4x6 stamp set has a lot of sentiments that go along with these absolutely adorable Macarons, and then there's also a stack of Macarons tied up with an adorable bow and an individual cookie as well. I am going to be using that cookie to create my own little pile instead of a stack of cookies. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with one of my background panels because I'm going to be adding some watercolor spatters. I wanted to start there so that that panel could dry while I was working on the rest of my card. So I have that individual Macaron stamp and I have alloy hybrid ink and a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel. I'm just going to start stamping this cookie randomly, and I am making sure that I am twisting and turning this cookie stamp to kind of just give a more organic looking background. This is one of my favorite ways to craft. I have always loved stamping my own background paper since I started stamping. It's a great way to have your own customizable paper because you can create with any color you want. You can even add ink blending if you want, or like I'm going to do, I'm going to add some ink spatters, which is probably my go-to technique for when I have a stamped background. It just kind of fills in any extra areas that aren't fully stamped. I'm going to cut this panel down using the second largest die from the mixed postage dies, and I have some black watercolor ink. Any kind of ink will work here. If you like to water down some acrylic paint or if you have a shimmer spray, anything will work. This is just my go-to. I'm using a size 6 round brush and just spattering on some ink, and then I'll set that aside to dry. Now here I have stamped out one of the cookies, and I used Raven Hybrid ink. That is my go-to black ink for any kind of coloring. I have really been gravitating towards Copic coloring lately, but the great thing about this hybrid ink is that it works great with colored pencils and watercolors as well. So it's really just a one stop and go ink pad. I stamped it and I die cut it out, and now I'm just going to color this in with some bright pink markers. I have actually never had a macaron cookie, so I had to Google what these cookies look like. And for the most part, when I Googled it, it looked like the icing on the inside or the filling is a darker color, and then the actual cookie part is a lighter color, but of that same color. So I have some RV markers, my red violets, and I started with darker shades to fill in that filling, and now I'm coming in with lighter shades to color the cookies. When I color, I like to start with my darkest and then go to my medium and then my light. But you can color however you learn to color. In the end, it's going to look great because these cookies are large enough that it's not super detailed coloring, but small enough that you can color this quickly and easily. I colored this one cookie in about 2.5 minutes, and that wasn't that long to me. Now I do off camera, I went ahead and stamped 2 more cookies, and I colored those with some green markers and then some kind of yellow and orange markers, just so that I could have a little stack of cookies in different colors. Next up, I wanted to stamp a sentiment. So I die cut, I think this is the second largest die from the pinpoint rectangles dies. It's going to fit pretty much all of these sentiments perfectly. So I stamped the one that said, "Be a macaron in a cookie cutter world." I thought that was just the cutest sentiment. So I stamped that, and then I also die cut some pink papers using those mixed postage rectangle dies. The largest one I cut from a darker shade of pink, and then I cut one that layers perfectly with that pinpoint rectangle sentiment from a lighter shade of pink. Then I'm just going to start putting these elements together. I have that large pink postage rectangle and then my stamped postage rectangle. I'm going to stack together those 2 sentiment dies and then just put my stack of cookies on top of that. And my sentiment is going to kind of just be peeking out in front of those cookies, and everything is just going to come together to create a really cute and yummy card. I hope you enjoyed this quick and easy card. This took hardly any time at all to color up these 3 absolutely yummy looking cookies and then to just layer it together on some die cut panels. So here is the finished card, and you can see how those ink spatters in the background just really look awesome with those little kind of cookie crunchy marks on the macaron cookies. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye!